Welcome. I'm Alice Alicia Jones, and this is another one of my Living Consciously videos. And you can see there's a change of scene here. I'm no longer in Virginia, I'm in New York. I'm in Saugerties at the home of my son and daughter in law and grandson. And wanting to keep up with this because next week I'm going to be in Nashville, and I'm still going to continue this. I'll keep up as best as I can, but I'm going to continue today with past lives. What triggers a past life? And I gave you uh, roughly half of them, and then I stopped at the place where I wanted to start today, and that is with dreams, because you absolutely are going to have dreams that where you where they feel so real to you that you are going to say that there's something about this that I really do want to explore further. And in my case, the dream that I had that was incredibly real was where I was in my Reiki room and resting there. And all of a sudden, the ceiling disappeared. I'm in a spaceship and I'm heading out into outer space. And as I head out, I look over to because I'm at the controls, and I look over at my co-pilot, and he's the gentleman that introduced me to A Course in Miracles. So, and he's the gentleman who I dedicated my first book to. So I looked at that, and all I knew is that we were out there. We were commandeering a vessel that was uh, going to look like it was it didn't feel as if we were in any kind of warlike situation. It just felt like exploration, and that was one of the neatest experiences that I've had, because like I said, I absolutely physically could feel the way that the spaceship kind of where I was, where it elevated and when it zoomed out into into the ionosphere and into the atmosphere of space. The next, uh, so dreams are very much a trigger. But the next thing that I want you to know is that you can have books. You can get past life um, uh, recall by reading stories of other people, especially when you are reading about NDEs, the near death experience, because I truly do feel every single one of us has might have had a near death experience at one point in our lives. And the near death experience did make it easier for us to come back into this plane of existence and be completely grateful for what we experience here. Be completely grateful for what we have that is such a blessing to us that we may have just taken so for granted. And I know during this period of COVID, some people struggled immensely. Other people coasted through it. Other people felt that they actually enjoyed the isolation and the feeling of being in control of their lives in a totally different way that they were in control before. In fact, when they had to re- retreat back into a place where they couldn't take all the appointments, they couldn't go everywhere. They had to work from home. They recognized that in many cases they were wearing themselves out, that they were just becoming utterly exhausted from the just normal routine. They and I know in the Washington area, an hour to an hour and a half of traffic in one direction is not uncommon. Probably the same in New York. Even though Washington has many less people, we're probably in the neighborhood of 3 to 4 million between Maryland, the District of Columbia, and Virginia, um, versus New York's 8 million. Still, traffic congestion is horrendous. So, reading about past lives will trigger a past life of your own. I don't have a specific example myself of where when I've read about something, but I do have in the other uh, things. The the next one is lectures. When I went to Brian Weiss, his lecture in downtown DC. Brian Weiss was the author of Many Lives, Many Masters. And when he wrote his book about Catherine, he at that time held the information back for 10 years because he was at that point the president of the American Psychological Association. And here he was giving somebody a counseling session. And when he asked the question, go back to the first time that you felt the feelings that you're describing to me, she went back to a lifetime that was thousands of years in the past. He thought she would go back to childhood or teenagehood, or young adulthood. And Catherine went back to a time uh, that she lived that was absolutely not the same time as this time frame. And he held that information back. He felt that he was writing the book, but he also felt that I can't give you I can't release this information to the public because I have a reputation to uphold. And this is the same thing I experienced. I didn't want to go public with my gifts. I didn't want to be able to tell people exactly what I thought, what I felt, how I sensed things, and that I didn't really agree with the norm that is accepted out there because I didn't want my reputation ruined in any way. Um, so, and the irony is, when I saw Brian Weiss, as I listened to him, a Florentine gentleman appeared behind him, and I looked at that and I thought the word that came to me was Medici family. So when I took my two books up to him for his signature and told him what I had seen, he broke out into this magnificent grin and said, Florence is my favorite place in the whole world. In fact, I'm leaving to go there tomorrow. And as luck would have it, I'm going to be in Florence again in next year, in March of next year. We were so fortunate because of the fact that my son took a semester abroad and his base was in Florence as in his junior year. And then through him taking us around Florence, we also went to Siena, we also went to Vienna. And 8 days prior to hooking up with him, we went and visited Rome. So it was absolutely glorious. But I literally felt like I had tapped into Brian Weiss's past life in Florence because one of his guides was a Florentine gentleman, and it frankly could have been his own past life. I also know that whenever the two times that I've been in Rome and Florence and the countryside, it feels like home to me. It absolutely feels like home. So I know that I've had multiple lifetimes um, in all of Rome and, well, all of Italy. And I get to see our first trip next year will be Sicily. So I'll get to see that and see. And there's so many Roman ruins there that I had no idea that they existed. But anyway, following lectures on spiritual, even subjects, even the fact that you are listening to a lecture about this can trigger a past life for you. So, absolutely know that that is possible. This next one is massages, both deep tissue massages like Rolfing or just a standard regular massage. Because during a regular or even a healing, a past life can surface while you are getting a healing. Because I do know that when I was getting just a normal energy healing from the gal who was my teacher, all of a sudden I saw another image. It's described in my book, Own Your Power. The whole scene is laid out there, but I know it's my brother. And I know in that lifetime, I am extremely wealthy, I am gay, and I can buy all the love and affection that I want. I have money is no issue, but my brother in that lifetime was a youth who only wanted a monogamous relationship with me. That's all he craved. And as a result, when he saw that that wasn't going to happen, he died very, very young, literally of a broken heart. So I know that my brother and I have exchanged roles. I hurt him, he hurt me. I hurt him, he hurt me. So the sad thing is that hopefully in this lifetime, whatever issues that we had in the past, we will be able to just clean them up, get rid of any karmic imbalance, and go on and just not have to work out any more issues. But Rolfing is similar to like Swedish massage and Thai massage, very, very deep, very intense. And the one time, again, now this story is described in my first book, God is the Biggest Joker of All, that can be bought on Amazon. Um, I literally saw a scene where I saw a reptile dressed in regal robes and a regal uh, crown on his head, a crown shaped into like a turban, and he was ascending the steps of a stairwell. And as I looked at that, and there was so much wisdom in his eyes. The next thing that I saw was a playpen with small reptiles in it. And afterwards, the next day when I was in meditation, I asked my guides, I said, what was that all about? And the answer was, he was your father. And I said, and the babies, they were your brothers and sisters. So again, you can be animal, vegetable, mineral, as well as human, as well as extraterrestrial. Every single thing is possible as a piece of consciousness that is part of God. There is nothing is off limits to you. And in this lifetime, the thing that I'm trying to get the people to understand, and this is part of my mission, is that to for you to start believing you have no limitations. Nothing is outlawed for you. Nothing is going to be given to you that is not uh, allowed, and it is totally up to you to to get the message from what you're experiencing. And it's totally up to you to be able to get yourself closer to the vibration of God. Okay. The next one that I wanted to share with you is TV movies and shows. Uh, whether you're at the movies or whether you're just watching television. And this comes from my own background. I was watching Joan of Arc, and as I watched Joan of Arc, this was with Kate Blanchett about 10 years ago. I think there were two versions of Joan of Arc that came out, and I'm watching, and I start squirming in my chair to the point where I know something is happening because that whole movie screen blanks out, and in its place, I witness myself scaling a wall. I know I'm a soldier in her army. I witness myself scaling a wall. I thrust a spear into the person that's at the top of the wall. At the same time, that person thrusts a spear into me, and I fall off the ladder. I crash to the ground. My bowels let loose, and I can remember feeling so horrified. But before I did that, when I looked into the eyes of that person who thrust a spear into me, as I also killed them, I saw the eyes of my mother. So I too know that there were times after I became an adult that I could not be in the same room with her for more than 4 days, because at the end of 4 days, I would always find a way to argue with her. And I kept thinking, how is this possible? Why do I do this? Even the year that she was diagnosed with cancer, diagnosed with only having 1 year to live, still 4 days in her presence, I found a way to argue with her. And I mean, in retrospect, I feel so utterly foolish, but and not very kind and not very gracious. But I know that at the time when I did it, it was the way I felt. So I I guess I just had to get through and overcome those ego issues that I still had with my mother. So I I'm going to give you a meditation. I I think I've already done this, but where I'm not sure that it was in this series of past lives. It could have been in another lecture, but I want you to do this meditation, and all of you who join us after the Facebook Live comes on. But for 20 minutes, I want you to sit in a darkened room, like a powder room, light a candle. That's a pretty good sized flame, not an itty bitty flame, just a pretty good sized candle. Open the door a crack so you get some light in from the other room, but the room is dark, and there should be no light coming through the window. So if you have a powder room that has a window, then do it at night when there's no light coming through. And just simply stare at your face, because within seconds, you should start seeing your face change. And it's like this. It's very fast, and with every single time, a new life, a different lifetime should come into view. You will see the what you've worn on your as headgear. You will see if you're a conquistador, you will see yourself as an old person, you will see yourself as a baby. You might see yourself headless. That could have been a lifetime where you were beheaded. You might see yourself um, sweating profusely. You might have been burned at the stake. So there are many, many reasons to bring up past lives. And the most important is to clear the energy out of your body. You absolutely do have to clear this energy. I thank you for watching. I am going to end the video. I will see you next week, and I will be in Nashville. So thank you and goodbye.